record on this.
Tell me when.
Okay, you're good to go.
Okay. I think that maybe there will be emotional arguments aired tomorrow night, so I thought I should air my emotions tonight. Last year, I thanked the staff publicly at a Board of Ed meeting for their support of our family during an extraordinarily difficult time. I would be remiss if I didn't speak of the way that that has extended the extraordinary difficult time and the extraordinary support we've received from the staff at this school. Everyone says if there's anything I can do, but this staff really meant it. Parents usually can expect support from the classroom teacher, yet as a retired teacher who has worked in different schools and with different staffs, that support to this extreme does not usually extend to other staff, support staff, paraprofessionals, the nurse, the secretary, and the principal. I've relied on Ms. Roberson this year as a principal, a counselor, and a friend. And she has provided information, guidance, and a shoulder. So tonight, I publicly thank the staff in the school and say unequivocally that I really don't know what I would do without them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Everyone here was saying thank you in case you couldn't hear them.
Okay,
So Rose, if you just unmute yourself now, I know this is a little tricky.
okay, am I coming? I sure am. Okay, so I received the letter on email. And I didn't print it out. But since we have the 2-minute limit, we're going to read the letter for 2 minutes, and then if anyone needs a copy of it, because I might not get through it, I can email the copies. Dear Hampton Elementary School Board of Education, I'm writing to you regarding your consideration for combining Hampton and Scotland elementary schools. I have read through the final ad hoc committee report that was published on Hampton's town website and feel the following issues haven't been considered in the sales pitch being delivered to you. I didn't know if you will have the answers to these questions, but if you don't, I hope that you will vote no until the ad hoc committee can ensure these concerns are addressed. The town of Hampton hired an independent assessor to determine how close, has the town of Hampton hired an independent assessor to determine how closing Hampton Elementary will impact property values for Hampton residents. The reason why I am asking is that Hampton will be the only town in the state without its own elementary school. This will more than likely reduce our property values. Reduced property values will result in less taxes the town brings in at the current mill rate. Will the savings, the ad hoc committee's report, still exceed the reduced tax income, or will Hampton have to increase their mill rate to compensate for it? 2, it is my understanding that the ad hoc committee used average salaries to calculate their savings. However, teaching positions at the cooperative school would be offered in the order of seniority. In theory, salary increases with seniority, so why did they use the average when they will most likely have to hire the teachers with the highest salaries? Additionally, how do you expect the teachers to accept the same salary when you are forcing them all to double their class sizes, class loads? It's not like this is organic growth within the town. 3, have you just had discussion with the Scotland Fire Department and Connecticut State Police regarding the safety of our children? Are either of them staffed to accommodate evacuating 180 or more students in the event of an emergency? Most of the larger schools around us have their own police force, parentheses, Killingly, Plainfield, Putnam as examples, close parentheses. Will the school have increased security or additional paraprofessionals to assist in evacuating the larger class sizes? These are young children who scare or panic easily and will need more than the support to get to safety. 4, regarding class sizes, what will the maximum class size be? The ad hoc report says classes will be 16 to 25. Oh, okay, that was my 2 minutes. I'm sorry. There is more. Why don't I go ahead and forward everyone? Okay, thank you.
I have a
I'm
question
sorry,
or
that's a very good
comment.
idea. Sincerely, Danielle McIver. 222 South Bigelow Road. And that's the only correspondence I have. Dr. Sarli, do you have any? Okay. I did reply and let her know I was going to do that.
Hey,
And I
Rose,
thanked her for her letter. Approval of the minutes for
no,
7/27/22
Rose, can you hear
and
me?
8/24/22.
Can you hear me, Rose?
Great. Any discussion?
I
Hearing
have a
none, all
comment.
those in favor? I didn't look quick enough. Okay, and we need Juan and Ann's vote. Juan?
Yeah, I'm muted, I think. Can you unmute me?
No, you're not muted.
I had a comment about the meeting time tomorrow. There's a school readiness council meeting on Thursday, I believe, unless they've changed it. And it would be at the same time as the town meeting. And I'm a member of the School Readiness Council in Hampton in Scotland. So it would seem that the other members of the School Readiness Council would be interested in coming to the town meeting. So I'm just sharing that information because it's only very recently
Point of order.
come to my attention.
And the meeting was last night.
It was last night.
But I need your vote. I'm
You
sorry.
need my vote.
I need your vote.
But what are we voting on?
The minutes
Okay,
to approve the minutes of 7/27/22 and 8/24/22. So are you voting yes?
yes.
Okay, either you have to mute or I do. I know I can't do a meeting like that.
So if I say muted,
I will unmute myself and then I can announce the vote.
so when if you your
That's what I'm doing.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute. All right, the motion Oh, I'm sorry. Juan, did you want to vote?
Yes, yes, I did. No,
No? Okay, thank you. Okay, the motion carries 7-1. On to superintendent's report, and I will mute.
Is she speaking?
we can't hear you.
You're muted. Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Sorry about that. It's our first time in person, so we'll get the hang of this. So we had our open house on September 13th, and it was the first in-person open house that we've had since COVID. So you can imagine there was just a lot of excitement in the building. Literally, it was palpable to feel everyone's energy in the building. It was well attended. We had over 40 families in attendance. And one of the pictures you can see here to the right, the most right, is parents signing up to be part of the PTO, which is a new refresh start of the PTO. And they had a really good number of volunteers sign up. And actually, since our open house, they have already held 2 meetings and have had great ideas for more family involvement and exciting fundraiser ideas.
I put in applesauce. I don't
Is
want
there
to
an
know.
issue? I'm sorry, is there an issue on the Zoom?
Can you give it to me now?
Maybe not. Okay. In this next slide you see here, this is just a reminder that we're going to have our Board of Ed retreat on October 6th. It's going to be here in the library at 4:30, and there is a Zoom option for anyone that would like to attend with us. This right here was specifically asked at the last board meeting in terms of how many students are taking the bus, and I put it into a pie chart for easier viewing of what our attendance looks like. So what you'll see here is 1/3 of our students are parent drop off of pickup, and 2/3 of our students are utilizing the bus. It fluctuates just a little either way, depending on what's happening in families, but that's the picture of where we are to date with our students taking the school buses. And then I'm moving into the flexibilities for the guidelines of educator evaluation for the 22-23 school year.
So, we made a mistake on the agenda. And I attended a workshop today that told me this. It doesn't say discussion,
Okay,
so all we can do is vote with no discussion,
okay,
technically. Unless people are gonna say, "Well, for this one time. Discuss." You all know what you're voting on.
I would be quite honest and okay with, Charlie including this as part of the superintendent's report, and then we'll vote
With no discussion,
with, well, her discussion, so she can explain it to us.
but no discussion among board members.
If we don't feel comfortable with that, then we'll put.
Usually we like to talk about things.
Yeah, we just back up.
I can provide you background.
Okay.
Okay, okay. And I won't make that mistake again. So the Professional Development and Evaluation Committee, also known as the PDEC committee here in our school, met on September 7th and voted to adopt these flexibilities. And this has to be a mutual agreement between the PDEC committee as well as the Board of Education for the flexibilities to continue. So to give you some background information on what these flexibilities provide for the evaluation process, teachers will have 1 student learning indicator and 2 indicators or measures of accomplishment focusing on social and emotional learning for students, student engagement, engaging families, cultural responsiveness, or academic achievement as mutually agreed upon with their evaluator. Administrators develop 2 student learning indicators or measures of accomplishment, including but not limited to supporting the health, safety, and social emotional well-being of staff and students, ensuring equity for the most vulnerable students and their families, mastery-based learning, or developing systematic approaches to incorporating social and emotional practices and/or culturally responsive practices into the teaching and learning process. Student learning indicators make up 45% of the evaluation, and 40% of the evaluation is through observation. As the social and emotional well-being of students and staff will continue to be a priority during the 22-23 school year, it's recommended that observations of performance and practice, site visits, and reviews of practice or artifacts be formative in nature and take place more frequently and for shorter amounts of time throughout the school year for the purpose of providing feedback and support. Evaluators are encouraged to focus on educator practice that supports social and emotional learning and health and well-being of staff and students and student learning. The stakeholder feedback and whole school student learning indicator remain and make up 10% and 5% of the evaluation process respectively. Lastly, what you're looking at here on this slide is called the holistic rating. And so the end of year summative reviews shall include a teacher administrator self-assessment, supporting documents, artifacts review, and an end of year conference. The summative rating shall be determined by a holistic review of evidence in each component, combining the rating for student learning and whole school student learning indicators effectiveness, and area of focus for an outcome rating, and combining educator practice and stakeholder feedback for a practice rating, and combining the outcomes rating and the practice rating to a final rating aligned to one of the 4 performance designations. So that's all of the information on the flexibilities that are provided for the 22-23 school year. Rose, is there at this point only just a motion made without discussion?
I have a question. About the whole thing, just, I mean, typically, whenever we put a motion on the floor, there is discussion afterwards. Whether we have discussion, like we discussed the approval of minutes, once there's a motion on the floor. Do we not get to discuss after there's a motion on the floor?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this a different form of teacher evaluation from what we have done in the past?
Because Matthew has a procedural question, and then we'll go to you.
Just want the answers.
You get the chat, you get these. We do discuss approval of minutes, that's true.
I mean, anytime we have a motion on the floor, there's usually discussion, whether we have discussion written in the minutes, in the agenda.
Well, let's do it this time, but let's not make the mistake again. How's that? And now we'll go to David's question.
Well, then why
Let's
don't we
make a motion.
Oh, you need to make a motion. Okay.
Move that we adopt the flexibility for implementing guidelines for educator evaluation for the 2022-2023 school year. You got that to say?
Yes, sorry.
Second,
Okay. Now, Dave, you can ask your question.
Is this a new type of evaluation?
It is not.
And we've been doing this right along.
Yes, so the percentages have all basically been the same. The difference is in the observations being more frequent and informal. That's different. That part of it is different because the percentages are not though. So the outcome, does that make sense? I'm not sure. It's different. Yes, that's why they're flexibilities that we have to mutually agree upon. The percentages though, like this is not. Yes.
Change is good.
Yes.
Could you pick that up so we can read it?
Sure.
Are you familiar with this evaluation process?
Yes, and to my understanding, Hampton ended up adopting these practices last year, just not in this formal.
I remember voting on it. You look back at the minutes?
We typically vote on it about this time every year. And,
Okay.
but the flexibilities is a result of COVID.
Right.
So when we voted pre-COVID, and I remember Mary Ellen taking, because I handed out, not everyone was here then, but I handed hard copies of the packet. And she said, it's very involved. So
And we have copies of them, that was before our time.
yeah, absolutely.
I do want to say the reason I remember is because I opposed it once the COVID flexibilities came, because I think some people don't get observed at all.
No, it's the opposite. It's greater observation and infrequent, so it's not informal.
So we put it on here. Letting some people not be evaluated, not be observed, or all of that.
Was it not formal observation? Because they're all informal observations? I know that's happened quite a bit.
Yes, so that's what these flexibilities provide is for veteran staff to have all informal observations as opposed to a standalone formal observation.
So all year, there's not one formal.
Potentially, yes, but you'd have a minimum of 3 informals, which is 20 up to 20 minutes in a classroom.
Every 3 years or something, is there a formal evaluation?
Well, these are just flexibilities for this school year.
You're using our old policy.
Well, I'm remembering many
Well, it's not old. It's still in place.
There is a cycle that probably exists from previous years, but this is a flexibility that has been brought out from COVID. The state is working to revamp, is probably the best word I can say, the evaluation system, which has, I think, been the reason why they're allowing for these flexibilities to continue as they're restructuring.
But non-tenured teachers are formally evaluated?
Yes.
So I'm in the wrong.
Yes, non-tenured teachers, beginning teachers are still have a formal observation in addition to the informal observations.
Just one?
At least one.
I have a question.
Yes.
I can't tell you where you read it, but you mentioned health. I'm wondering if the health of the children, health of the mental health, or what?
Social emotional well-being is definitely the priority when they're talking about the health.
So they come to you and talk to you about something. Who's going to decide whether it's a mental health issue?
So
That would be you.
I think there needs to be some maybe background understanding of, so teachers create goals, and then there's indicators that mark the achievement of the goal. So it's a student learning indicator that's created. And one of those could be, and this really is trying to increase family involvement as well. So prior, it would only be academic based, but now they're opening this flexibility to being social emotional based, as well as family engagement and really that's why this holistic approach is there, and not just strictly in math and reading data, although we should see improvements in that. So those would be indicators to show that they could be used as indicators to show the growth of the students.
I think we might have a lack of understanding of social or emotional. So could we somehow get short presentation in the future on that?
Sure can.
Any further discussion? Can you just explain the difference between a formal observation and an informal?
Absolutely. So informal observations, as detailed in the flexibility, is no greater than 20 minutes within a classroom. So you walk into a classroom and not just 1 minute, but up to 20 minutes. If you exceed 20 minutes, that's then considered a formal observation. So it is time dependent in terms of informal all of a sudden turning formal. In a formal though observation, usually it's pre-planned, where you have a pre-meeting with the teacher to go over what their lesson plan is that they're going to execute out. You would give strategies and ideas if there was something that stuck out. This teacher would implement that lesson plan, be formally observed for the entire lesson, and then there'd be a post-conference afterwards where the evaluator and the teacher would sit there and go through what was seen in terms of the learning target. Did students achieve that? How do you know? How could you have improved that for next time? And then improvement strategies are put in place so that they can apply them to the next lesson. Whereas in informal, you're still going to give that feedback. It's just not in that structured pre-conference, post-conference. It very well could be a conversation right then afterwards, during a prep or a lunch or after school, in that manner, as opposed to the formal written out pre-conference, post-conference.
So are you the one walking in classroom doing this?
Nope, that would be our principal. But I would be doing that to Sam. So she will create her own administrator goals, and then likewise informal, formal observation.
Walk in, straighten their act right out, right? Well, their act might be pretty strict. Yeah. Talking about the movies. Oh, the movies get formal.
Yes. Good. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's human nature. But we work through that. And there's other parts to it too. That, they have to, I have to see evidence, because I'm not there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to give me documentations. I ask for lesson plans. I ask for communication logs. There's a lot of information that I also still gather. Even though this part of it is shortened, there's other components that are still part of the process. And I use a rubric.
Can we volunteer?
Yeah.
No.
Volunteer, I'll put it to work.
I'm just asking. Okay, so is there a discussion now?
I have a question. Hi,
in.
when you do the informal, there's no documentation of that meeting whatsoever, is there?
There
Yes,
can be a checklist.
It's, there can be.
I usually use a checklist.
So on the evaluator side, it is maintained because it has to be maintained.
okay. Is the informal it doesn't have to be announced, right? It can be done at any given time
That's
Without-
correct.
without,
That's correct. That's why it's this flexibility is really more authentic to the learning of a day when you can just walk into a room, stay there for 15 to 20 minutes, get a capture of what's happening and provide on the spot feedback to improve instruction.
all this is also part of the contractual process, right? I mean, that's what they're agreeing to. This is how you're going to evaluate them, right?
I would say that's a very true statement.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
You might, next time, you might like put this out and all the, like the SLOs, I know what that means, but other people might not know. And like explain maybe one of the domains, what you're looking for when you're looking at excellence and
Yes.
say mediocre, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good suggestions.
Are we ready for a vote now? What? Can you remind me of the motion now?
Motion to adopt the flexibilities for implementing the guidelines for educator evaluation flexibilities for the 2022-2023 school year.
And no one seconded it?
I seconded it.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And Juan?
Yes,
Right. Motion carries unanimously. Do you have more in your report? No principals report.
Oh, I'm up. We're really digging back into the PBIS program, the Positive Behavior Intervention System, which is our discipline program. It's catch them being good is like a phrase that we use. We've laid out our schedule for the year. We also flexible when things come up that are appropriate for students to get involved in. And I feel really positive about that and getting a lot of good feedback from students. One thing that I don't think I put in my thing is the team A and B and Kate also got to go up to the town hall and the library and do a field trip. And they just came back like they got to vote and they got to talk about their library cards. And it was a really great opportunity for the students to get out in the community, connect with community members, and there were also family members involved. So that was a really positive experience, and we're planning on some more of those coming up. There's a special at the Science Museum, discount price if you come in the winter, so we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to do our first fire drill, which is usually planned. It's not a surprise one, but the first one is planned. So we're going to do that on Friday. We have bus drills coming up in end of October, beginning of November. The playscape, I believe, is all done, and that's exciting. Kerma is going to come and give it a quick look at, and they don't really give a seal of approval, but they will make some recommendations if we need more sand or bark or something underneath it on October 10th. And I think that's it. We had 2 inspections already in the kitchen, and we did great. So far.
It's me. I sent out reports if anyone wants to ask some questions, has comments, feedback.
I have. I want to say I really like that the numbers are being in this report. I appreciate it.
Wish I'd known sooner that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know I really came through that. That was great. I don't think I had questions on the budget. Oh, this is the budget versus actual for 2021 through 2022. So my question is, I think you said I can use the figure. We're clearly more than 20,000 over budget, even after we're audited, to still be more than.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna request the 20,000, yes, is what the ordinance allows me to do after the middle of August. I'll request that. And then I had a quick question about the profit and loss about the cafeteria.
Right.
I think my head might have just answered for me. So these are the only expenses that we have because EastCon does employees and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there could be some supplies and some maintenance expenses, but yeah, all the employees are theirs. They purchase the food.
And the food too. Okay, other professional services. What does that mean?
Let's see. That's the EastCon fee. The $23,000 is the
Ah.
EastCon.
Okay, thank you, I understand.
Great.
Anyone else have questions? Mary Ellen? Yeah, thank you for the COVID information.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering on the use of the remaining funds. Do we need to stick to what was submitted, or is there a process by which we can change, for example, from health and safety to student needs or vice versa?
So the student needs piece has to stay because we had to have 20% of the grant, so that can't change. But certainly some of the other could move into one of the others.
So student needs would be the grant, 44,000.
Yes, and a large chunk of that is actually special education.
Okay. Thanks. I can't look at it. I have the board up. There's a lot to do. Are there any other questions? Sam, may I ask you to put your screen down a little? This one? Yeah, it comes in as a blank. Oh, no, I didn't. So your screen isn't showing. Your screen isn't showing.
Oh, I was just letting them see if they want it.
You weren't letting people see them. So I made a mistake.
Video wall.
Oh, the video was off. Yeah, I get this big blank thing.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't mind. You can put it back up for people to see. I misunderstood.
This thing does.
Yeah, that's bigger. Okay, thanks. I guess I have one
We'll
more
try that
question.
one next time. Over there.
I guess I have one more quick question. Where health and safety and improving air quality, could that also be a key?
Yes. It would require, us just getting a revision, but that is heating. Yes.
I assume there's filters in there.
Well, I'm thinking about that, whether or not the heat pumps can qualify under that,
I think
which is something that that's another.
Yeah.
Yeah, heat pumps can.
I think they can if they're filtering. So if we get to that, then we'll need to revise the grant and get the permission at that time.
Well, there's also HVAC included with that as a package, so it's covered. Yeah, maybe that particular part can go to the improvements in there.
I'm certain there are filters in a heating system and a cooling system. So yeah.
That's what you qualify.
No.
Any other questions? Well, let's go on to discussion and possible action on the transfer of funds.
Oh, that's me also. So there was a $1,400 invoice that came in after the last board meeting where you voted on transfers. So I'm requesting that we do one last transfer.
Yeah.
What was that for salary, 1,400?
It was $1,400 for our annual actuarial report, which is part of our audit. Yeah, it's part of it.
What's the two from?
Oh, I'm sorry. From 200 employee benefits to 300 purchased professional services.
Oh, sure. I'll make a motion that we transfer the $1,400 from line 200 to line 300. And, remind me what thing for?
What the
Actuarial.
1,400 was for? The actuarial report.
For the actuarial. For.
And
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And Ann said aye. Juan?
No,
All right. The motion carries 7-1. Okay. Discussion of school safety, executive session to anticipate. Security is one of the issues that we're allowed to go into executive session.
Can you
So
speak more loudly, please?
I can mute and you can unmute.
Well, you muted me. How can I unmute?
You just press unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
How about now? It's not either way. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I have unmuted and I've pressed this button several times. Oh, Linda can hear me? Okay. Ann, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
How about Juan?
yes,
I see. So I heard Juan just fine when, before I pressed unmute. So how would my unmuting myself take away hearing Juan?
Charlie, you heard, which connected to the.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Can you speak up a little louder? I can make this closer.
What if you turn the microphone?
Yeah.
So I'm going to mute myself. Okay. So what I said before was, that school security is an agenda item that we can go into executive session for, it's allowed. And I don't see any other agenda item that would involve, Mrs. LaHoo. So if it's all right with people, she shouldn't have to wait for executive session.
We're definitely going into executive session.
Wanna wait until we find out? We could. I sound like we're going a little.
Works for me.
I mean, it's pretty much now, right? So we can make the motion and I'll come walk out the door.
Well, Linda also have to find out.
I can move her into the waiting room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Dr. Sarli, would you like to discuss,
Really,
just so people know if they want to go into executive session, because every items of what you want to talk about that requires executive session? Want me to do it?
Yeah.
That has to actually keep in Dr. Sarli. So, it's something that we think is, it would require money. So we would, we need to go into executive session to discuss it. And then afterwards, you can come out and vote. If people want to do that, we will not discuss it publicly. If we don't go into executive session, we'll just.
No, I move to go into executive session for the purpose of discussion of school safety.
Can we just say school security?
School security, thank you, sorry.
And Diane seconded. And I will close the door just.
With, invitation, Dr. Sarli.
Oh, and,
Inviting
And-
Dr.
and-
Sarli and
I've never been in executive.
Can I shut this door? Yes.
Yes, please.
I'm about to.
inviting Dr. I'll amend my motion to invite Dr. Sarli and principal representative.
Okay.
So then I think
Alan can be here without.
he can be here, no problem.
We have to stop
Okay.
recording at this point though.
Without inviting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Matt, I'm going to stop recording. So people who are here, Linda, I'm just going to move you to the waiting room while we're in executive session, okay? Okay. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick.
Because I didn't ask Ann and I didn't ask Juan.
We didn't vote at all yet.
No, we didn't vote at all. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Ann said yes. Juan, sorry to goodness. Juan, are you in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All yours, Dr.
Okay, just give me a moment to put Linda into the,
821, 829, unanimous.
okay, so I just put Linda in the waiting room and I am going to,
Did anyone have anything else they wanted to say on that? So let's move on to committee and liaison reports.
I'll start. I'm Jerko.
Communications has nothing to report. Finance and operations.
Yeah, so we met, I can't remember what last week or the week before, just talked about, primarily the mini schools. So I don't know, Larry, if you wanted to kind of give a brief synopsis of what you guys have been looking at, or, you want me to summarize? But bottom line is, we've had multiple companies come in, kind of take a look what we have. It looks like there's some possibility we can use the ventilation system we have with units, which would offset the cost of having to put in like the individual units per area. And we're still working through those details, but definitely actively looking at what our options are there, and as we finalize and, you know, kind of go down the path and get on a solution we think is reasonable, we'll bring that to the board, but we're not there yet.
Do we have 3 vendors?
Yes, we have
So
three
we
vendors.
talked about that in the presentation too, right?
right, and
The regional, yeah, one of the reps is going to come to the FNO meeting.
right, and a second one, the second person that came, the second group that came, wrote back today, but they're just waiting for HVAC costs, current pricing, and then they'll get that.
Let's keep going.
And,
Yeah,
and the first company had a rather confusing proposal, I thought.
Well, their company should have. You got the email.
Yes, and yeah, the third company that came is almost ready, or they are ready to present.
Yes.
So we just have to work.
and then obviously, PA system, which we, oh, sorry.
Thank you. Policies?
I guess Ann kind of stepped
Policies,
out.
are you? No, I'm here. I just didn't hear right away. So policies, the superintendent and I met in a preliminary context, and she has demonstrated a very keen ability to learn quickly. So we went over the structures that are resources for us, including the CABE policy manual and their protocol, and Hampton Elementary School policy manual, which is available online. And so that was a very important initial step, and we will be meeting as a committee as soon as possible to move ahead with updating the policies.
Thank you. Ad hoc job description subcommittee. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We're just moving to the next one, which is the ad hoc job description subcommittee meeting.
Okay, thank you.
We were waiting for feedback for the lawyer, which just came in, so we need to schedule our last meeting. Ad hoc superintendent's evaluation subcommittee, we're ready to set up a meeting, but that hasn't been done.
Rose, you just skipped the one right above it.
Ad hoc minority recruitment and retention subcommittee. Thank you. We had a meeting. Feels like yesterday, I think yesterday.
Yeah.
And we discussed ways to get postings out in the community and in many communities so that we get a large variety of people apply. That really took most of the meeting in the year. And that follows our charge. And we have an opening for a para. So it's a good time for us to be able to practice this. But if anyone knows someone who'd like to be a para, please encourage them to apply. On to KBN.
Yes, the CABE convention committee is very busy getting ready for the November convention. And the other committees that are part of the CABE structure are continuing to do their work. And they do have the diversity, inclusion, and equity committee, which I believe, Rose, you've been participating in.
Yes.
Yes, so some of the resources that you've shared with us have come from that source. which I think will be potentially helpful mutually moving forward, so that what CABE is doing will complement nicely what Hampton Elementary School is doing in terms of diversity and recruitment. I would encourage people to go to the workshops, and I know a number of you have participated in some of the ongoing professional development opportunities, and that continues to be valuable. And I think someone had mentioned, I think Rose perhaps, talking about the one on parliamentary procedure.
Yep.
You might want to comment on that. Or not.
She said, or not.
Okay,
There was another review of Robert's rules. And
the what?
every day and pick up. So I did pick up.
And I can't hear any of that, so.
Is that
That's okay.
posted, Rose? Yes, it will be posted under their professional development. Okay. Nick Caruso and the new lawyer. Oh, I believe his name. The one who replaced McCarthy. Sorry, it begins with a G.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Do you have more to report, Ian?
I think that's enough for now, unless somebody has questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so as I reported before, Easton has a new executive director for a couple of months. And there are substantial financial problems with Easton right now. And a new CFO was hired. She's been there 2 days. Well, today, 3 days. We had the auditor present last night, last year's audit, which was just completed, which is far behind. And the executive director would present to the Board of Education as the superintendent or a board requests them to do so. They rather have the executive director present to the board than to have each of us that are representatives from our board to Easttown present, so that what's told each district is the same. But so that is a major concern. We have bi-weekly meetings on that. Our board does to get feedback about what's going on. But well, the executive director resigned, and there was a major turnover in the business department, which meant that the data wasn't ready for the auditors. So it was not done in a timely way. But in addition to that, there's some cash flow issues which are being remedied at this point. So if Dr. Sarley wants him to come and present, we can do that if it's of interest. That takes up a lot of the time. We are also having a retreat. It's on the weekend. I think it's the 27th of October, Saturday, for the board. And then everything else is pretty routine, policies and facilities, et cetera. They're looking at trying to move around things. For example, the current facility for transportation is not adequate for electric vehicles or repair of every vehicle because it's limited in size, and there's no propane there for conversion 2030 to either electric or propane vehicles. So there has to be changes in the structure of where programs are with youth conference. Including kid programs. Some of the facilities that the kids are in are not active. So there's a lot of things in motion at East Con right now with new leadership, which seems very good.
Thank you. The non-BOE meeting in Hampton, Scotland discussions. Tomorrow night is the meeting where the committee will present to the town. And then October 11th is the referendum for the advisory vote. And then the two boards of ed will take the question up after that. Do you all want a special meeting to do that, or do you want to do it at the October regular?
Scotland is the same.
Well, our regular meeting and Scotland's regular meetings are different days.
Right.
Yeah,
Says before us. Not that it's gonna.
I don't believe so. Well, I know they meet the first Tuesday. They might meet the third Tuesday as well. I would have to check that out.
Third Tuesday is cash show.
Oh. Okay, so if they meet the fourth Tuesday, it's, it would be just the day before us. I will text Cassie right now. If I get the answer during the meeting, I'll let you know. But other than that, we're thinking a regular meeting. Okay,
Which is October
26th,
26th.
yeah. Okay. Actually, I can't text her and run a meeting at the same time, so I will do that first. Okay, do we have any additions to the agenda? Great. How about next agenda planning? So how about if we have some kind of maybe 10-minute explanation on social emotional learning and the skills that we want to support.
Rox, can I just say that I just looked up on the Stockman website. They don't go up to October, but in September, it was the first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, but they didn't mean a second time?
And in August, it was the second Tuesday.
So they'll end up having a special meeting for their vote. Because their referendum's on the 11th, right?
Oh, and they also-
That's already done.
That's all the above.
But Scotland, that's the first.
That's the first, but here it's the second. So
They're all.
they're all
So we're on the next meeting, yeah, October 26th.
July was second. Looks like it's there's they're inconsistent. First or second.
So that should go on next agenda too, is then vote on.
Yeah.
Is there a reason to do this? Is there a reason to do it on the same night?
I beg your pardon?
Is there a reason to do it on the same night?
Be biased. That would be any of that.
You don't think it matters so much? I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Okay. So all we have right at this point is a discussion of social emotional learning. And if anyone thinks of something, contact either Samantha or me and we can still get it on.
So Rose,
Yes, Ann?
would we want to do like a brief something related to the retreat. You know, just some summary statement or sharing on the next meeting. Not
Yes,
like a rehashing the whole thing, but just some mention of it.
Yeah, I could put that in the superintendent's report.
Okay, good.
What time is the retreat?
Thank you.
Do we need to make it later? All of the people who are going to be there are here right now. So if we need to make it later, we can.
It's on Friday, right?
Thursday,
On the fourth,
the 6th,
Six.
on the sixth.
Where, here?
here.
I usually get going about 4:30. I cancel everything afterwards.
So you'd have to leave work or
I don't know.
cancel
The
work?
range doesn't. Also,
That was kind of.
1:30 on the sixth.
Good. Sure. Okay.
Did we say, what date did we say is the next Board of Ed meeting? Was that 26th?
26.
Thank you. Cassie got that in. And they didn't, they don't have a special meeting set up.
They haven't set a date yet.
No, and they don't have a special meeting set up, so they might go to their, thank you. Okay, so now we'll go to audience for citizens and staff.
Like to report that I was pleased to host the school field trip with town hall last Thursday.
Was Linda in the waiting room?
Gave us her class work requests for town projects and yes.
I hear you're getting a new tennis court.
We're gonna build a stadium.
They think big.
On the topic of discuss the issue.
So I need a little more detail.
Discuss the October 1st assessment.
Oh, the one for the school?
Correct.
Okay, so enumeration that the town did? We don't do enumeration. Do we?
It's in the budget.
We did it up to last year.
Oh, so we do it, okay.
Isn't that also in the town budget though, that we pay them in?
Fair enough.
That would be good.
Thank you. All right. We entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, yes.
I just want to let you know, November 1st, I will be a member of the Board of Ed.
So we're going to need to do that.
I'll be gone.
We're going to need, well, we're going to need you to write
I will. I
To
just
the
wanted to
town.
let you know.
to the town clerk and send me a copy.
It's not official. Okay. Yeah, I won't be here long enough to be able to serve for leadership. So, plus I don't know how long it's that might.
Okay, thank you.
I understand.
Now I can entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
All right,
Sorry. Ann said yes. Vaughn?
yes.
Yes.
Bingo party.
Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourning at 8:30. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.